The following program contains strong sexual content. Viewer discretion is advised. Today, on an all-new Dr. Phil, her daughter calls her a hypochondriac.
I had cancer of the throat.
The fact of the matter is you had a benign tumor removed.
I believe that I was healed miraculously.
But she's just sick and tired.
You judge everything that I do.
What have I done that you don't want me to see my grandson?
Of being rejected.
You're very hostile towards me right now.
I have grandparents' rights, and I am not a psycho.
Let's do it.
Why don't we stop all the drama, stop all the fighting, and let's go get you better.
Here we go. Have a good show, everybody.
If I can help get this family back on track, are you willing to do that?
Ready, three, take.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
All right, now, I need to tell you that today, this woman is being accused of being a narcissist, a hypochondriac, a drama queen, and a liar. The person making these claims, her daughter. Now, Leah says that her mother, Dora, is notorious for creating chaos and playing the victim in every situation. Obviously, Dora vehemently disagrees. Take a look.
In the past, my mom has been very selfish with her life. She's gone back and forth with my dad at least 20 times. She's moved us into different states, all at the cost of being with my dad.
There was a rock and a hard place because the kids wanted him back in there. Dad was the one that was the yes man. I was the only disciplinarian in their life, and they looked at it as nothing but a controlling, psycho, Jesus freak mom.
My mother is the narcissist and only thinks about herself.
My daughter, Leah,
Looks down on me because I currently don't have a job because of my health issues.
My mom is a hypochondriac, always in and out of the hospital, and always posting Facebook statuses about her new illnesses.
It's just the pain. Sorry.
When my grandfather died, my cousin emailed to let us know when and where the funeral was going to be, and my mom's response was that she didn't have a voice and she was very sick and we should all pray for her.
I'm sick because I'm rejected by my own children, and that depression is brought on by the severe broken heart, and that adds to a lot of other problems that I have. I had actually a tumor that was growing on my throat.
My mom says it was cancerous, and when they removed it, the cancer was miraculously gone, and it was a miracle.
I am a cancer survivor.
My mom pretends to have all these illnesses so people will feel sorry for her.
I feel like I am a monster sometimes when she says stuff like that to me. And it's like, what have I done?
Okay, are you being mischaracterized here?
I do believe so.
What is she saying that is untrue about you?
The hypochondriac, I do have a lot of health issues.
What do you mean when you say hypochondriac?
I define it as ailments that I have because of my fibromyalgia and the problems that I have because of colon issues. I have diverticulitis. I have hiatal hernia. I have esophageal spasms, things that cause me to throw up when I can't even get a nausea feeling.
Okay, this is way more information than I was looking for.
TMI, sorry.
The way I define hypochondria, just so we're clear for everybody, is that it is a pervasive, irrational belief that often vague physical symptoms are a sign of a physical illness despite the absence of supporting evidence. And the person is unable to control the worry, the fear, and anxiety, and they constantly seek reassurance for it. That's what hypochondriasis is.
That's not me, because I have all the medical records to prove that I have these conditions. So.
You think she's a hypochondriac?
I do.
Do you define it the way I define it?
I define it the way you define it.
Okay, so you think she makes all this stuff up?
Growing up, it was always in and out of the emergency room, always complaining about something and being sent home because there was nothing wrong.
Is that true?
I don't remember that. If I was
It would be a
there, it was
cough.
because of, no, it was because of gastro pain, something that was doubling me over. I've had gallbladder surgery. I've had that removed. I've had lots of problems with fibroids with my female organs.
Okay.
I've had a total hysterectomy,
Yeah,
so
okay,
I don't deal with that
okay,
anymore.
Okay. Did you have cancer?
I had cancer of the throat. I have the scar here that you can see.
Yeah.
They went in and removed it after they told me that the biopsy said it was cancerous.
Okay, so you had cancer, then they took it out and it wasn't
They took it
cancerous?
out, and actually he stood at the foot of my bed, and he said, I don't know what happened here, but we just came back from the lab with the freeze test, and this tumor that we removed does not have cancer cells in it anymore. And he said anymore because whenever he first did the biopsy and told me because of the cancerous cells, we were going to remove it.
Okay.
And of course, I was glad because it was a big lump over here.
So they said you had cancer, then when they took it out, it wasn't cancerous?
That's correct.
So you think something happened between the biopsy and the removal that it just went away?
I believe that I was healed miraculously because even the first grade students that I was teaching at the time would come and pray for me.
What do you think?
I don't think it was cancer. I think science says you did not have cancer.
Okay, well, Leah claims Dora is in constant need of sympathy and attention. And here's a look at some of the Facebook posts that Dora has made in the past month and a half. February 20, excessive sweating causes makeup to pour off. No answer from doc as to why it happens. Probably from the pain, joint, muscles, colon, etc. February 13th, 3 meals down, 3 meals up. It's February 10th, gotta lay down. Only way to keep anything down these days. February 10th, seeing my GI on the 27th seems so far away. January 26th, gotta suffer downstairs air and get on with it. Once puking stops, that is. So tired of being sick. January 26th, neighbors should be able to smoke in own place without affecting me and my child. We both have asthma. January 25th, up puking from smoke coming from ductwork. January 24th, gagging, sitting in my little office space. I have asthma and neighbors are smoking. January 21st, I mean, it goes on and on. That seems...
And these are all things that I have been diagnosed with.
But it seems kind of exhibitionistic to just be talking about it on Facebook. Why would you feel the need to do that?
Actually, I was hoping that it would open up some windows or some doors so that my children would realize that I am not in good health.
We were blocked from your Facebook. We didn't even see
Fibromyalgia
any of
is
that.
a disease or
But
a
you blocked
condition.
them from your Facebook.
They blocked me,
We've both blocked each other.
and she has.
But they can't see it because they can't get on there.
So how did they know that?
Well, we got on there.
Okay.
I didn't get any of that.
I have got esophageal spasms, and I've had those for probably since the first of the year.
Oh, okay,
I had
I'm
to
not-
borrow
I didn't ask
wardrobe.
about your esophageal
Okay.
spasms. What I'm
That's what the throwing up is from.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, Leah says her mom takes no responsibility for anything, including stealing her identity. Take a look at this.
My mom always blamed everything on my dad, that it was his fault that we didn't have good credit.
There were so many times that we had to move because of not being able to pay the bills. That put me in a bad pickle because my credit and his credit were scored together.
Because of her bad credit, when she needed a new place and electricity and the phone, she would put them in mine and my sister's name. My mom also had $5,000 on the credit card in my name. My credit was so bad when I got older, I was denied a car.
I feel like I am blamed for the turmoil that Leah has said was her childhood, and all of this wasn't my fault.
So what do you want to say to your mother about that? She says all of this wasn't
What's
her
the
fault.
5,000 about? I have no clue what that is.
Did you take your daughter's identity?
No,
Never.
You didn't use your daughter's identity at any point in time?
I never took her identity.
Did you use her name?
I used her name and her social whenever we were out in the boondocks and could not get any kind of connection or could reach anybody. It was a telephone that was hooked up.
That was never paid, and it hurt my credit
I
because it
understand
wasn't
that.
paid.
I understand that, and I'm
For
really
7
sorry
years.
that that was not
7 years.
taken
I
care of.
could not get a credit card. My husband had to put everything in his name.
I'm just curious if you have any ownership for any problems in this relationship at all. And
Do I
if
have
so, what are
ownership
they?
for them?
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes.
What would those be?
Probably marrying the wrong person,
One would be marrying the wrong person. What would be the second one?
making decisions to have access to a telephone whenever I couldn't pay for it myself. And I've already apologized to her for that, and I am really sorry that that was the choice I had to make for us to have a connection to the outside world.
Well, you're really justifying that, not apologizing for it.
Well, now I'm apologizing that I had to do that.
Well, that's really justifying it. Okay, Leah says Dora nearly ruined her wedding. We're going to hear what Dora has to say next. Plus, we're going to meet Leah's dad, who Dora blames for causing the drama. And you may be surprised that she's got some points here that she makes about that that are justifiable. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Leah called me in tears because she didn't want to have to choose between me and her mother as far as for who was going to get to come to her wedding.
When my mom finally decided that she was going to come to the wedding, she insisted that she had a police escort.
As she was growing up, Leah was mad at me because I'm the disciplinarian and the Christian modest mother, and I just didn't feel like she needed to expose herself. You know me, I have the big stuff too. The girls always stay in their harness, but to be hanging out and sitting across the table from her dad, and I'm like, oh my God, looks like you've shoved a kid down your shirt. The butt's hanging out. Sorry, that was detailed. Really? How about you just put on a T-shirt when you come and hang out with the family, because you know that that's going to offend me. And I think you're doing it on purpose.
Well, that was Dora saying her daughter Leah knows exactly how to push her buttons. Now, my good friend Troy Dunn has 2 daughters, 8 kids altogether. And he stopped by with a little experiment to find out why these 2 don't see eye to eye. Let's take a look at that first, then we'll say hello to Troy, and then we'll talk some.
I'm going to say a word. I'm going to give you 4 possible answers. Me, her, neither, or both. About you and your daughter. Okay? All right. Drama queen.
Both.
Her.
Vengeful.
Her.
Dishonest.
Her.
Insensitive.
Her.
Both.
Manipulative.
Both.
Her.
Jealous.
Her.
Forgiving.
Me.
Patient.
Me.
Peacemaker.
Me.
Victim.
Me.
Both.
Well, joining me is Troy Dunn, who you may recognize as a locator, and he's been involved in bringing together over 40,000 families across time. You've been listening to what we've talked about up here so far today. What does that say about what you've seen?
You know, I have words that I call nuclear words. And these are words that have more power than other words in the English language. Dora throws around nuclear words like cancer and cancer survivor. Now, I don't doubt that there might have been a miracle in her life. I'm a Christian man, I believe those things happen. But the bottom line is the doctor said it wasn't cancer. Now, as the father of a 15-year-old girl who's a cancer survivor and has battled for 7 years and gone through chemo and all those things, I think I speak on behalf of a lot of families of cancer survivors. It's a little bit offensive that you use that term so lightly. I think of cancer as a nuclear word. So I think at some point they're going to have to start speaking a more honest language to one another if there's really going to be any progress made in their family.
What do you want from your mother?
I want you, when you speak to me, to speak like a normal person, not be so dramatic, and not always throw something out there about you and what you're going through. Ask me how I'm doing, how my kids are doing, instead of saying, oh, I hope you guys are doing fine. My leg is broken. Nobody asked, but it's broken. Just thought I'd tell you. And you've never said your leg is broken. I know that, but you've said things like that.
Oh, I did have a broken ankle once.
I don't doubt that.
Do you hear what she's saying?
Yes.
Do you think that you are, as Troy just mentioned, what he said is, listen, I've lived with a precious little girl that has fought a cancer battle for 7 years, and for you to put on the T-shirt and wave the flag's a little offensive to my sensibilities. When you had a benign tumor removed.
It was benign after the lab test. I think there was a healing.
The fact of the matter is you had a benign tumor removed. True?
Yes, but the cancer was there, proof on the medical records.
You had a tumor removed, correct?
Yes, that had cancer cells in it.
You had a tumor removed, correct?
I did.
And it was benign?
No. It was not benign whenever they did the biopsy, sir.
Okay, you had a tumor removed, correct?
I did.
And they took that tumor to the lab.
That is correct. They froze it.
And it was benign.
And he came back and said, we don't know what happened, but it is no longer cancerous.
Okay, you had a tumor removed, correct?
I feel like you're belittling me.
No, I'm asking you a factual question, and you're wanting to embellish the answer. But the facts are, you had a tumor removed, they chopped it up, and it was benign. That's the fact, correct?
That is a miracle, and I'm so glad. My father had cancer and had to go through all the radiation. My sister had the same cancer of the throat. So the fact that mine was a miracle healing, I believe that.
Do you think it's at all unusual that without me asking about one single disease or disorder, that you told me about 12 or 13 disorders you had without me asking about a single one?
Well, because I am not a hypochondriac, and those are real diseases and real issues that I have, sir.
Okay, now answer my question. Do you think it's at all unusual that without me asking about a single one, you told me about 12 or 13 disorders that you have without me ever even asking?
Yeah, because she needs to know this is truth. This is not just something I'm making up.
Okay.
I did tell you.
Now answer my
I did tell
question.
you that.
Do you think that's at all unusual?
It may be unusual for you, but I needed to get the facts out.
Okay.
I've been in a hospital for, several times, and not once have they called and asked me how I'm doing, which my mother went through severe colon surgeries, and guess who was right beside her holding her hand?
You.
Because she could have died. She was on the verge of dying.
You're always on the verge of dying.
I'm not. My mother was on the verge of dying.
I can't be there every week at the hospital.
All right, Leah says eating her wedding day had to be all about her mom. Let's hear what she says. I'm not saying I agree with her. I'm just telling you what she says. Take a look.
2 days before my wedding, my mom called to tell me she put a restraining order on my dad, and I had to choose who I wanted to be at the wedding.
Leah called me in tears because she didn't want to have to choose between me and her mother.
Before the wedding, I got this very vicious, couldn't read it without cringing email from Leah's husband-to-be saying, if you don't come to the wedding, this will be the breaking point. And it was full of that bomb, and I felt very threatened to not come to the wedding.
My mom wrote back and said, whatever you want, you're the greatest son-in-law ever, and I will be there for my daughter. When my mom finally decided that she was going to come to the wedding, she insisted that she had a police escort. The topper for the wedding was that my mom didn't get us a card or anything.
I wanted to be able to put money in the card to help pay for her wedding dress. Russ didn't have the money to put in the card, so the card was left in the vehicle.
My dress only cost $300, so all I asked was $150.
I feel like I'm being blamed for something that was Russ's fault.
Typical mom behavior.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to add Dad to the conversation next, and then we'll talk about that situation. We'll be right back.
You know that your mother has made some very serious accusations and claims about abuse from your father.
I've never seen my dad do anything to my mom, ever.
When you mention abuse to Leah, she probably is thinking physical abuse, obvious verbal abuse, but she doesn't know the whole story.
After their second divorce, my mom would tell us that my dad beat and raped her against her will. She's always blamed everything on my dad, that it was his fault that we didn't have good credit, and it was his fault she had to put things in our name. That did not seem believable to me. I don't think that my dad was abusive or manipulative.
Well, Dora has been married and divorced twice to Leah's dad, Russ. Now, Dora says there were things happening behind closed doors that Leah doesn't know about. I sent Troy to talk with Dora and Russ to figure out what really was the truth and what the daughter just might not know about.
When I asked Leah if in her entire childhood, if she ever saw any signs of any form of abuse, her answer is absolutely not.
And that's because I protected them from what happened behind closed doors.
When you mention abuse to Leah, she probably is thinking physical abuse, obvious verbal abuse, but she doesn't know the whole story.
And the whole story is?
In the bedroom, there was sexual abuse.
And that's what she doesn't know.
Yes.
There was stuff that I did that I never wanted anyone to know about. And I'd forgiven him, but I haven't forgotten. And I know it was from the stuff that he had watched, except that anything that is torturous in the bedroom to a woman or a wife is wrong.
If that's true, which he's admitting was, why did you keep coming back?
Because I believed that nothing was impossible with God, that eventually he would get the help that he needed and our marriage would work and our family would still be together.
So you were spending money on porn?
Yes.
Instead of what?
Rent, bills, things like that. The normal stuff that you're supposed to be paying on.
What are some of the effects of the financial distress that put on your family?
It was devastating because we were moved from one place to the other because of lack of payment.
Do you regret dragging the children in and out of this relationship 20 to 50 times?
I do at this point because I have been held back from seeing my grandchildren. And the irony of the whole thing is he has gotten to see them. And most of the reasons why that I can't see them is because of his things that he did.
She's saying you were the source of the turmoil and the chaos in the home. Is that true?
I would say I was a major contributor to the turmoil.
It's your fault?
Yes.
The reason you don't see the grandkids or me is completely separate from you and Dad. It's because I cannot have a relationship with you. I can't. I don't, it has nothing to do with Dad. I don't look at Dad and say, you know, he's my favorite, I'm gonna choose him over my mom. I know you both have your issues and you've both done things that most parents would never do to their kids growing up or put them through, but I just think that it's weird that I can still have some sort of a relationship with Dad and not you.
So do I. So why can't we have a relationship?
Because Dad has never thrown things in my face. He's never judged me for anything that I've done growing up. He's always had my back, and you have not. You judge everything that I do, everything.
So that's why you keep me from seeing my grandkids?
I don't keep you from seeing them.
Yes. Yes.
No.
You live only 3 hours away.
It's
And
same
you said
to you.
to me,
You live only 3 hours
three
away.
hours away. Why haven't you came to see me?
I have attempted in the past.
To come to my house? I've lived
I
there
don't wanna
3
come to your
years and
house.
I've never seen you come
I don't
want
want to come to your house.
Why?
Because if you want to see my kids, you can drive the 3 hours.
I'm a grandmother, and I can't see my babies because you hold things against me.
I have let Gabriel come stay with you.
Why
when
have
he
you
was
stopped?
first born, I let him stay with you for
Why have you
weekends at a time.
stopped?
Well, because you took him to the emergency room because he had a cough. And I got stuck with the bill.
That's not true.
That is true.
He had to have a breathing treatment because he could not breathe.
No, he
And
had
for me to
allergies,
take
and I
him?
told you that before you kept
But
him.
an allergy,
I said,
you don't have a fever with an allergy, sweetheart.
He didn't have a fever.
He had a high fever,
Can I step
and they
in for
gave
just a
him
second?
meds to bring the fever down. Sorry.
You have no ownership and no insight into the imbalance of this relationship at all. And you can't change what you don't acknowledge. My hope is to change this interplay so you become an active force in your grandchildren's lives. I want you back in your daughter's life. I want you in your grandchildren's lives. But you are unwilling to take any ownership
Of what?
of your behavior in your relationship dynamic with her. You are a right fighter, and so you would rather be right than happy. And I'm trying to get you to have some insight and change that. Whatever the why is, I can tell you what you need to do to change this dynamic. And if you'll do it, then it will change. Now, Leah might be in for another surprise when Troy reveals what he discovered during his sit-down with her parents next. We'll be right back.
Do you still, on occasion, have physical intimacy? You two are not married.
No.
Do you still, on occasion, have physical intimacy?
Yes.
You do. Do you think the kids know that?
I had mentioned to Leah one time, a long time ago, that we did, but just on the one occasion.
Yeah.
Is he still sexually abusing you?
No.
So there is now intimacy between the two of you.
One time.
One time. Is that your answer?
Well, that's been more than once.
Well, Leah just found out today that her dad sexually abused her mom. Even though they are divorced for the second time, they also just revealed to Troy that they're still sleeping together. Now, Leah is at a loss.
Excuse me, Dr. Phil?
Yeah.
Well, sleeping together, I use that term as somebody that's, on a constant basis, sleeping with someone. We do maintain separate residencies. There have been times just when we have gotten together, but I don't think we would use the term sleeping together.
Dr. Phil, I don't know if you're aware of this, but in addition to being married and divorced twice, they have broken up and gotten back together. We tried to figure this out, between 20 and 50 times. Is that right?
Well, I don't write on the calendar every time, but
That he gets caught with porn, Sorry.
So it seems like there's still something inside of all this craziness that has the nucleus for the potential of maybe a family. I read a wonderful book recently. It's called Life Code. Have you heard of it? And because I'm hoping
Good book.
yeah, I'll get you a copy. It's fantastic. But there's a section in there that I really, in fact, my copy is all marked up with pen and marker. But there's a section that talks about if you're going to take a second chance, or in your case, a 51st chance, and trying to rebuild something better, that it talks about a negotiation process, which I don't know if Dr. Phil agrees with me that that is a possibility at this point, but I'm a guy that loves to reunite families, and I still feel like there's something here under all of this manure that could be pieced together to be a family with a husband and a wife and a mother and a father and children and grandchildren. But it does seem like a whole new deal has to be structured.
And I think it starts here between you two. If you are willing to change some things, you could begin healing this relationship.
I have already told her that I wanted to ask her to forgive me for ever saying anything that was offensive to her as far as her lifestyle and what she does with her life. There were just times that I was just shocked. And as a parent with a child that grew up in church with you, to see some of the things that she has on her Facebook page,
Okay, see, wait a minute.
just blows my mind. I'm not changing it to me.
No, you couldn't go through one sentence without shifting in to criticism. You got halfway through a sentence and said, I told her that I wanted her to forgive me some things. It's just that I have, and then you started criticizing again.
Well, I was offended, okay?
Okay, but that's
and
not...
I'm sorry, and I've already told her, I'm sorry that I was offended by that. You are an adult. You can live your own life. Please let me get past this and let me see my grandkids. I haven't done anything to not see my grandchildren.
Well, I think that's her decision, and she thinks otherwise. Are you willing to change some things so she does trust you emotionally? If I were to get you some help with that, would you take that help?
Sure, I'm seeking counsel now.
Do those counselors talk to you about what you can do to heal this relationship?
Do they talk to me? Yes, they know that I can't see my grandkids. They don't know why. I don't know why.
They don't know why? They don't have any clue about as to why?
No.
Okay, we might want to get somebody else to come in with a fresh perspective. We might want to get somebody with a fresh perspective to come in and maybe give you some fresh ideas to think about this. You think?
I don't know what I think right now.
Okay.
I just feel like a victim, so go on.
This is, okay.
No, this is true.
I know
came
it's
to the
true.
show
I know you feel like a victim.
to get resolved the issue that
But
you
what
have
he's
with
saying
me.
is, wouldn't you rather
And I don't know
talk to
what the
someone?
issue is, dear. What is your side? What have I done as a grandparent that you
Okay.
don't want me to see my grandson?
Okay, I
have
don't
done
need to
nothing
be
but
here
love
for
on.
this. You can just replay the tape because, I mean, you're discounting what I'm saying because you're very hostile towards me right now, so you're not going to weigh what I'm saying.
I'm hurting, sir.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm hurting.
Yeah, I understand.
I have grandparents' rights, and I am not a psycho.
What I'm telling you is that I have said to her that I think you are a grandmother with a good heart and a lot to offer these grandchildren. What I'm telling you is that she fears you emotionally because she thinks that you are toxic in the way that you come at her and that you are oversensitized to physical syndromes and symptoms, as evidenced by the fact that she thinks you overreacted and took her child to the emergency room. And she's saying, look, I just want to have a more relaxed relationship where you can be with the kids and not be taking my inventory and judging my parenting, my values, my lifestyle. Can we just be together and just kind of love these kids and leave all those other issues aside? And that if you will do that, I think we can start taking small steps towards healing this relationship. Now, those are constructive suggestions with verbs in the sentences. And if you will hear that, you can change this dynamic and those kids will be back in your life much sooner than what you've been doing. Hear that and do with it as you will. Coming up, my next guest likes dating younger men, but her daughter says she thinks it's disgusting, and more importantly, she thinks it's dangerous. We'll talk to them when we come back.
I'm at the age where I'm going to get what I want now.
My mother has had a different guy Monday through Friday.
It takes a 20 or 30-year-old to be with me because I have high sexual drive.
Today we're talking about misbehaving moms. Now, my next guest wrote in because she says her 61-year-old mother's sex life is getting out of control, in her opinion. She says it's just plain inappropriate, in her opinion, and that her mother is misbehaving. So we'll see what Mom thinks about all of this. Take a look.
My 61-year-old mother is a slut.
I'm at the age where I'm going to get what I want now. When I meet a man on the internet, it's usually a hookup.
My mother has had a different guy Monday through Friday.
I met up with a 29-year-old man, and he became a friend with benefits.
He'll come over, have sex with her, and leave.
I think you're jumping too fast to too many different guys. You should just take it slow and age appropriate.
What's age appropriate to you?
Me, at the very youngest, 40.
It takes a 20 or 30-year-old to be with me because I have high sexual drive.
I'm pretty sure none of my friends have dated as many guys as my mother has.
After being on the dating site, plentyoffish.com, for 1 week, I received 50 or more messages. The age range of the men were 23 to 55. I didn't realize that I was in such demand at my age.
She'll be on the computer for hours and tell me about at least 6 or 7 different guys, emailing her right then.
He's hot. When I met a 19-year-old on the internet for our hookup, I knew I wasn't going to do that again. He was really inexperienced.
The 19-year-old is 3 years older than her oldest grandchild.
I'm not looking for that, but I wouldn't turn it away either.
Okay, so you're how old? You don't mind saying, right?
61.
You're 61.
Yes.
So we're about the same age.
Yes, we are.
But I'm just way too old for you, right? So,
You are.
so you say that someone my age just could not keep up,
Right. From my experience.
from your experience. So how old are you, Troy?
Well, I'm 45.
So he would be too old.
No, not necessarily.
I have a son who's 23. Is that better?
So you think this is just over the top?
Yeah.
And what's your fear?
She's gonna get hurt.
So she says that sometimes it's a different guy every night.
No, that's not true.
Well,
That's
that's what
not
she's-
my understanding. That's
Yeah.
from what I'm hearing, is that it's a different guy every night.
So sometimes 2 or 3 a week?
Maybe 2. Once, there was 2 guys back to back. One night, and the next night.
Okay, just 2 nights in a row.
Exactly.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
How is it you know so much about your mom's sex life?
She'll tell me.
So you get details about this.
I've not specific details. Like one night she had somebody over and she came over a couple days later and she told me, look at me, I'm still tired and I have bruises and...
Oh my gosh.
Okay, how many times have you gone to bed with them the first time you actually met?
Just the once.
The 19-year-old?
19.
19. How many times did you
Once.
meet him?
Once.
Okay, the guy that came down from upstate, how many times did you meet him?
Once.
Okay, there's 2.
How many come back for a second?
Hookup is what I call it.
Okay, a second hookup.
There, I've only had 2 different gentlemen that do that.
Out of how many?
Out of how many? I've never kept a log or anything.
Well,
and
if you don't know how many, that answers the question.
Do these take place at your house or their house or hotels?
It's usually at my place.
So you meet a man online.
You're bringing them to your
Not
house?
all of them, no. Most of that first week I was on, I met 5 different guys. I met them all at public places.
You bring them home to your house? Wow.
I'm trying to be as careful as I can.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
So, is she making any mistakes here? I'm going to tell her what I think when we come back. We'll be right back.
I thought my mom hit 60 and all of a sudden decided to be a wild child, but I'm finding out that it's been happening since she was a lot younger. I've heard stories about how you used to go out and party. It seems like hooking up with men is nothing new to her, but it's definitely new to me.
A lot of people are looking for love online, but sometimes it can be dangerous.
It might not always be the best idea to go back to someone's apartment right away unless you really know them.
A man who met women on the dating website Christian Mingle is now accused of rape.
A Pacific Palisades man entered a no-contest plea today to sexually assaulting a woman he met on Match.com.
She says she was raped by a sexual predator.
West Hartford police investigating a sexual assault. They say it all began with a dating website, plentyoffish.com.
Police say this is a warning, though, about what can happen when you grow to trust someone you just met.
Well, Carrie is here with her mom, Paula. She says she's worried that Paula isn't safe enough when it comes to meeting men online. So I'm worried about a couple of things with you. One, emotional. Are you interested in any kind of relationship long term?
That's what yes, absolutely. That was my whole thing about getting on Plenty of Fish.
You wanted a long-term relationship?
Yes.
And you realize that the aging curve between 30 and 40 is pretty flat. The aging curve between 60 and 70 is not flat. It's accelerating. So the chance of you finding someone with whom you're compatible is pretty low if there's a big age difference when you're on the older end. Do you get that?
I do.
So you're going to go through all of this, and at the end, you're probably not going to have what you're looking for. and taking these guys home, because you said, and I wrote this down as a quote, I generally prefer to let men come to my house to hook up because I feel safer and I have more control. Okay, let's see what we know about that. Okay, they now know where you live, so they can come back there anytime. You don't know when that might be. You've put your safe place in this world in their knowledge base. That's not a good idea. Don't be dumb about this. Be smart about this. Your daughter's concerned about you. You need to be smart about this. You're putting yourself at risk. Just be careful here. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful emotionally and be careful physically. People are getting killed every day, and there's nothing wrong with internet dating. There's really not. I think it's a very efficient way to meet people if you take the right guidelines, you follow the right guidelines and right precautions. And I'm going to put a list of those things on drphil.com. Well, I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks again to my friend Troy Dunn. And be sure to log on to drphil.com for more steps about how to stay safe online, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much for being here today. So long.